welcome. Thank you for joining in. If this is your first time catching one of our videos, my name is Kelly McLean, my husband Taurus McLean, and we're the owners and founders of the Hope Ambassadors, which is a coaching and personal development company geared towards helping individuals and couples to restore hope into their life, marriage, or business.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you on, whether you're watching the replay or you live with us. We just want to welcome you, say hi. This is our, I think, 6th video,
Yeah.
so we're cool. We're all building up to the couples vision board that we have. It's totally online, April 26th at 8:30. So if you haven't signed up, sign up. Go to our webpage, sign up. I think the link should be on our Facebook page as well. So sign up. Every topic we've been doing kind of been building up to that couples vision board event that's going to help you plan and get your ideas out there. So
and so while we're just kind of waiting for people to join in, we'll just tell you guys a little bit about, in case you're catching the replay, why we decided to do a vision board party. My first time doing a vision board was last year, and it's really crazy because I put items on the board, and it wasn't something that I looked at every single day or did anything spectacular afterwards. But what I'm noticing even today is that those items that were on my board are still coming true to this day. And I talk to people all the time who have done vision boards, and they have the same experience. And so we thought, in a spirit of trying to help couples to come together and create a shared vision for their families and for their lives and the things that God put on their heart, that it would be great to do it together. Because a lot of times I think guys get left out of the vision board kind of scene. You know what I mean? Like women, it seems like a lot of times we're all about the vision board parties at the beginning of the year and things like that. And I haven't really seen too many guys get a chance to experience that, but I think it's something really cool to do together.
Right, and I'm probably going to try to share it on my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's perfect. So smart.
And I was probably one of those people that's like vision board, I'm good on all that, but when I really thought about it and I kept it consistent with, things that I know, it's just a way to get some ideas, to get some desires and some wants that you have out on paper. And I think that's powerful. It may seem like, oh, what is that going to do? But it allows you to really communicate really specifically for this for your couple, as a couple, for you guys to communicate and talk and get back into interacting and dreaming and doing some things. And I think once you guys sign up and we go through this thing, we'll give some practical ways. But I think more importantly than anything is getting together, connecting, and sharing some hope for the future and what you want to work towards together. And that communication is powerful. And then you have something that's just out of your head that you can look at, you can pray on, you can speak some words to, you can declare some things based off of that. And then when they start to come true, you can just really start checking them off, kind of. So, but tonight we're talking about basically when your spouse hates your business and even your career. So, and we've experienced a little bit of that just on both sides of it, both ways. But we think it's an awesome topic because, that's one of the things we see. And when we talk to people, one of the things that's really causing conflict in marriage, because you're going two different ways. And so we wanted to, especially in the spirit of us doing our vision board, which is going to be in for the point of bringing you together and communicating and getting on the same page so you can move.
Hey, Latoya.
Hey, Latoya. Hey. And so get you on the same wavelength. And so that topic is awesome.
Hey, Ola. And guys, as you guys are coming in, since we are talking about business and things like that today, go ahead and just drop, either your website or the name of your business, because we do want to know what you guys are up to too. And so let us know what you do for a living or the name of your business so we can kind of get an idea of what you're doing.
Right, exactly. If somebody's on here, they can see your business, get some information out there as well. We all working together, man. Team body of Christ, So that's our topic. Again, just talking about having a business, and then, it could be a career as well, but having something that your spouse is like, and we went through that. I was that person and then she was that person too, but I know I was that person like, man, I hate your business. Like, I hate your business. I just, if it was a person, I would strangle it. Like, you know? So, yeah.
And I've had quite a few businesses, so. Okay, waiting for Tiger Fern Greenfield. Thanks, Latoya, for dropping that.
Cool.
So, yeah, so let's go ahead and just kind of jump in.
Yeah.
So, I think Tori did a really great job of just kind of laying out the topic and what we're talking about tonight. But we always like to try to, talk about why this particular topic is important and how it can be impacting you, because we wanted to give you guys some practical understanding of like the topics and where we're going with it.
Right.
And so the reason why this is so important and how it can actually impact you is because when you in a situation where you feel like you are involved in something that you really care about, whether it's a business, whether it's your career, and it can even be something that you feel like God is placing in your heart to do, right? It can be, extremely discouraging at times if you feel like the person that you love doesn't really understand it. You know what I mean? And then on the opposite end, it can also be challenging for the other person when... It can be challenging for the other person as well when you really want to support the person that you're with, you really love them, you want them to succeed in what they're doing, but at the same time, it is impacting you because you guys are together. And so it's hard to be able to build a business. Hey, Herman.
What up, Herm?
It's hard to be able to build a business without really considering how you're impacting the rest of the family and without, whether you're considering or not, without it actually impacting it.
Yeah.
But likewise, it's also really challenging for that business owner to move forward when, you feel like your family or your spouse in particular may not fully understand and be on board with you.
Big Murph, what's up, man?
And so we want to address this because we want to make sure that as people are striving towards their goals and creating a lifestyle that's thriving and a lifestyle for their family, because I believe that in both of those cases, most of the times, both people have the best intentions at heart. We want to make sure that we're addressing this so that you don't have resentment built up and so that you can, if you do find yourself kind of veering, into different directions, it could be a situation where maybe you guys, again, have good intentions, but you have different visions or values on where the family should be going in the direction. And so we want to help you guys to kind of pull that together because we don't want you to reach your destination or get to that success, but then you still kind of have a little bit of resentment or you feel like your journey was a little bit more challenging. And we also don't want the other person to feel like either they're being left behind in your journey or when you get there, you're a different person or you guys didn't grow together.
Yeah, and I think to backtrack a little bit, when you're married or you're together or you're planning something together, it's imperative that you guys like are working because there's no way kind of to be like separate in your marriage doing one thing and the other person is not on board. You kind of need each other's resources. You need each other's support. And if you don't have that, it just makes it much more difficult, and so like I know when I first got a job and we had to move, if Kelly was resenting that the whole way and just hating it the whole time, it makes it that much easier. I mean, when we still do it, yeah. Or, when Kelly's doing the business, every time we have an argument about it or frustration about it, it makes it harder on her. And so it's almost impossible not to be affected by the other person's decisions or their life or what they're doing. And so the easiest way is to find a way to merge what both of you guys are doing or one of you guys are doing to both of you. And I think like Kelly touched on with the resentment, it can go both ways, you can feel like you're making all the sacrifices as the person, let's say, not running the business or the person not going after their career dream or whatever. You could feel like, man, I'm making all the sacrifices and they're just like living it up, trying their hardest. And I'm just doing what we need to do for the, for the family, and in the other side, they can feel like, man, I'm working for the family. I'm working towards my dreams and my business for our family, and like they're not supporting me. And when you're on that journey and you're together and you're sacrificing or you're having hard days, you feel like that together. And then when you have a win, you celebrate it together. Like, yes, we got it. But if you're kind of doing it alone, the win is kind of all yours, and then the other person may even resent the win, and so that resentment can really build up. And I think we all have a tendency to be like, oh, they'll see. When I get rich and this really works, they'll see, but it's really not that simple because even then they can be like, well, yeah, that's cool. But they may not appreciate the journey or the cost of what it took to get there, because they weren't really on the journey with you, you know.
And I just want to clarify too, because for Taurus and I, we did decide to kind of like merge things together, but that was more so because I think we both felt like that was a missing link, but we just couldn't for a while figure out how to merge our interests. Like I would be like, I love business, you know what I mean? Like I love helping business owners. I like, having those, it just gets my creative juices going. Yeah. And so a lot of times I would try to say like, okay, well, why don't you just come on board with the business? And so we eventually had to find something where it was like, it allows him to really operate in his gifts and me as well. But we want to make sure that when we say merge, and we'll get into this more later, when we say merge things together, we're not necessarily saying that you have to be in the same business with each other. And so we do want to point that out, because that may not be everyone's journey, but there are still ways that you can support each other and be wholeheartedly involved in the journey with each other without being up under the same business. If that makes sense.
And that resentment is a bad thing to be there, and it's one of those things that if you feel, the other person is being selfish or, not thinking about you while they're pursuing their thing, that may not even be true, but that's how you feel, and that's going to come out in other areas. And then you're going to, it's going to manifest itself out, and then you'll find yourself, and if anybody's in a relationship, married, how that is, one thing can trickle over to another. Before you know it, you're just irritated about multiple things. Like, why are you arguing about who put the pepper over here? It's just really because it's just a bunch of anger and frustration and resentment built up about a numerous amount of things. And that's why we're kind of like, let's just get it out, because we don't think it's a right or wrong. We don't think if you're doing a business or you're pursuing your career of your dreams, it's wrong. Right. And we don't think if you don't want that person necessarily to do it in that way, that it's wrong. It's just about finding out how to come together and compromise a little. Maybe you got to do it a little differently, but we're going to get more into that. I don't want to jump ahead. So
as you guys can see, we're really into this topic.
Yeah. We live this topic. We live everything, but we live this topic for sure. So, we try to practice what we get on here and talk about. So that's just a side note. Anything on here, we're either doing it, have done it, or trying it, trying to put it into practice. You sometimes have that sometimes some things sound good, like you go to church or you hear somebody say something and it sounds great, like, oh yeah, support, be together, like, you know what I mean? But laying the foundation and really putting it to practice in your life is sometimes the disconnect. Everybody can get that motivation and that excitement, but sometimes when it's time to really get to the work, it's a little difficult. It's easy to say forgive, but until it's time to forgive, you know what I mean?
And I feel like as you start to kind of like, and you guys may even notice this, as you start to kind of like hear some of these things, it almost seems like you get more opportunity to practice.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah. What's up, Matt? And honestly, man, this is interactive. If you're hearing some of this and it sounds like what's going on, just, you got to get super personal. I know everybody doesn't know everybody, but throw something out there so we can keep, communicating with each other. So
and keep the businesses coming in, just in case there's someone on here who can connect with you and maybe they can help you or have a resource for you.
Yeah. And so our next one, a reason why you and your spouse may not be seeing eye to eye, or your spouse may hate your business or your career choice, whatever, is your goals, your plans, or your desires or your dreams may be not aligned. So it may be separate. So you, for instance, just to clarify what I'm saying, you may want to be a millionaire. You may have those dreams of being a millionaire, being a professional athlete or something of that nature. What's up, Wardell? And your spouse may just want to, a quieter life, is not super worried about money. And so you guys are conflicting. What you guys want is not the same. And so you're putting these things in action to get to a particular place, and they don't even want that thing, at least in their mind, And so,
and even from like a practical way that this could play out, and some people in here may see it demonstrated this way, sometimes it could even be a matter of, maybe some mindset things or some value differences as well. Yeah. So for instance, if one person is extremely maybe like driven, or they're really passionate about whether it's their career or their business, and maybe the other person feels like, we have a family, we have, all this other stuff going on. I'm, making a sacrifice to not go after my dream and things like that. And so I kind of expect you to. And I remember one time, I know we talk about like the Monday Night Basketball a lot, but I remember one time this was like in our first year of marriage, and I had, still had the baby, and Dan had Trip. And I remember him asking me, like, if I thought it was selfish or something for you to do Monday Night Basketball, or you were asking if I thought it was selfish for me to do something for myself.
Okay.
And that's what it was. And I was like, well, yeah, like, I can't, like, go out and do something for myself when I have, like, a baby and I have, another one on the way.
Right.
And he was like, but why can't you? And he really encouraged me, he's, like, the biggest advocate of my self-care, quite frankly, to go out and do it. But that reframed things in my mind, and I realized that the reason why I had a problem with him being able to stick it through with his Monday Night Basketball is because I was projecting a particular value that I felt myself onto him. So for myself, I would feel guilty. I felt like because I was a mom and I had a kid and one on the way, I had to be tied at home and I couldn't, we were on one income, so I can't go do this, or I can't do that. If I do those things, that's me being selfish, or that's me putting a strain, or things like that.
Right.
And so then I would like project that onto him.
Yeah.
So you could be seeing something like that play out where, perhaps the person feels like, well, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? To like go do X, Y, and Z and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But, on the flip side, as you being that person, the answer is not to just, brush it off or just be like, well, they'll, get over it. I know I had times before where, not like with this, but like if I felt like, oh, Taurus wasn't on board, I would be like, oh, I'm going to show him and I'm going to like work super hard.
Yeah.
Like that's not the answer. Really, you want to help the person to identify maybe where the mindset shift needs to shift. And that's what Taurus did for me in the topic of the self-care and taking time for myself. It was more powerful for me to have that shift and then say like, oh wow, like I can do X, Y, Z. So if you're in a situation where your spouse may think like, well, it's just over for me and my dreams and things like that, that's a space that you don't want your spouse to be in. Just from, a spouse perspective. Like you don't want the person to feel like they're sacrificing, their entire life and dreams like that.
Right.
One thing that we, we pray is that we make sure that we are obsessed with the other person, like living out their purpose. And so when you come from that point of view, it really does shift things for you, and you get invested in them succeeding as well. Yeah,
and I think it's all about communication. It's trying to figure out a hybrid. It's not one way or another. It's the hybrid solution to your dreams and your desires. Yeah, Monday. I forgot about that Monday. Matt had to shout out Monday Night Basketball, and Ola, assumptions and projections for sure. They definitely create disconnect because in our own minds, things make sense sometimes a lot better. So we're like, I get this, or I'm thinking like this. This person's not thinking like that. So clearly they must not care, or they must not be, whatever. Yeah. We think the way we think is the way everybody think. I mean, we don't literally think that, but that sometimes controls our thoughts.
Yeah, like we're trying to make sense out of the situation.
Yeah.
So sometimes the only way to make sense is by thinking about it through our own lens.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you want to come together and figure out, it may not be as simple as, as to our example, if you want to be a millionaire and this person's like, oh, I just kind of want a quiet life, you just have to try to bring that together and figure out what's the compromise. And ultimately, you should be compromising. You may not get exactly what you wanted when you were single, and but you're married now, and you should be trying to compromise and make it work and make everybody happy in the solution. If you're not doing that, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it's just wrong. If you're trying to get only what you want and you want it to be exactly how you planned it 100% when you were single, that may be tough sometimes because things change and things evolve.
Yeah. And I think we know that most people either don't think that way, like you do want the other person to, have what they want to, or sometimes you can get so disillusioned, and what I mean by that is you get so frustrated with, hoping and wishing and praying that you start to turn off that side of you that cares about what the other person wants, and you start to say, well, you're going to get yours, I'm going to get mine.
Right.
That's why, an activity like the Vision Board Party is going to be so great, because sometimes it can just be a matter of getting you guys thinking and dreaming together.
Yeah, and that's what we want the Couples Vision Board to do. It's a macro, that's what we're going to be talking about. Excuse me. It's a macro idea. It's a macro thing that's gonna put, general ideas and general things that you want. And then from that vision board, you need to start working down smaller steps to get to that big dream. And so that's just a shout out to our couples vision board again. But so yeah. And so the next one, another reason why your spouse may hate your business, hate your career, hate whatever, it's because they may not understand or exactly see it the way you do, and that's tough. But sometimes if you, like, for instance, use me and Kelly, we I was working 9 to 5. Kelly's doing different business ventures, having some good success with them, but she was in that world, and I wasn't. I was in the 9 to 5, and so when she would tell me things, I didn't live that life or have that understanding or have that information. So one of the things she would always say is, "Yeah, I'm getting work done," like, "Oh, I'm doing work," and I'm like, it just, work became a trigger for me, like, so she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do some work," and I'm just like, what is work? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if work is this, I don't know if work is that. I just wasn't on board. Like, what is that? We're going to talk about how to kind of get through that later. But, that was just like a thing. So if you may have to be patient, you may have to, educate them on what you're doing. And it doesn't mean that they're a problem. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean they're a problem because they don't understand. It may be it's a mutual problem. It's a joint problem because you got to work together to get aligned. You know what I mean? And so.
And I think another thing that really helps, and I feel like we say this on every video, is like perspective, and also giving the other person the benefit of the doubt. And I know for me, and maybe other entrepreneurs can relate to this, but it's almost like you're an artist. You know what I mean? It's like you get so into this thing you're building, and you're just kind of like, I don't understand why you don't see this masterpiece I'm creating. Like, It doesn't look like anything right now, but it's coming together. But what helped me to kind of reframe this and have some perspective is just a simple, like, shoe on the other foot type of exercise, where I had to stop and think, like, okay, well, Tori's working 9 to 5, and I want him, to be able to experience what I'm experiencing with opening a business and going after his passion. Mm-hmm. But, like, how would that look? How would that work itself out practically? Like, he would work 9 to 5, and then once he got off, he may, like, help out with the kids and stuff, and then go and work on his business. Right. And so it kind of reframed it for me because essentially, I was working full time with the kids at home. But then, like, whenever he was off or had free time, it was just kind of like, oop, gotta go, And so just kind of having that perspective and thinking about it from the other person's situation can kind of be helpful as well.
And I think, everybody feels like they're in the trenches. Like, I felt like, man, I'm in the trenches. Like, I'm out going to work, and I'm, I got bosses and I got things. I'm in the trenches. And she feel like, man, I'm in the trenches. I'm running the biz. I got kids running around. Everybody feels like they're in the trenches. And then you start feeling like
everybody is in the trenches.
Yeah, and you feel like the other person doesn't understand. Like, and they, but it's really not that. It really comes down to, and I'm one of those people who wants to plan everything. You know what I mean? Like, who's like, oh yeah, we need to sit down and do a plan. That's not sexy. That's not fun. But, it's necessary. And then I feel like once you kind of get over that initial, I don't feel like doing it, especially if you had a long day at work and you kind of start planning, you start getting, or a long day with the kids or a long day working in your business, who kind of feels like shutting down and then jumping into the planning mode. But that planning is kind of like you got to set a plan to plan. Like, you got to set a date, a time, and some energy. A time where you gonna have energy and a high spirit and a little peace about doing it. So, so that's cool. I think one of the, we always share scripture. Who wants to plan? That's not sexy. Right. Right. I mean, it's not, it's like, oh yeah, let's sit down and, babe, let's do a budget. Like, maybe some people do love budgets.
Life insurance policy.
If you love doing budgets, shout out to you. I'm not bad, but Julia likes to plan everything. Well, Julia, that's cool.
I would say sometimes you can get stuck in the plan because I've been excited about plans before.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's the execution.
But see, I think a important part we was talking about earlier is it's not really the planning that's frustrating to you. Sometimes the planning may require a lot more energy and thought than you feel like doing. I know that's for me. So if we're like, what school are the kids going to next year? That's not just as simple as let's sit down and write it down. We got to do research on what schools. Deep down, I know I have no idea what school they're going to. Like, and so it's a lot of anxiety sometimes too with the planning, because you don't know what you're even gonna like, how you're gonna resolve or get to the end of this plan. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of like, it doesn't all have to be done at once. It's just, knock it out and keep it moving.
And like Latoya said, sometimes planning is a distraction. I love it and hate it sometimes.
Yeah. And that's true. I don't know. Maybe you can clarify a little bit, Latoya. When I hear that, what I hear is you can do a whole lot of planning, plan, and not a lot of execution. I don't know if that's what you meant. And if not, correct me for sure. But that for sure, if you're doing a whole lot of planning and you got pamphlets and Excel files and a whole bunch of Word documents of plan, but you're not doing anything, then I
have some beautiful plans in my notebooks, like notebooks full of plans.
Right. And I'm that person that's like, let's just go do it. Like, you know what I mean? That's I don't want to plan, but you need a plan sometimes, because you get on there and you're like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, so yeah. But like I said, we always have a scripture that we like to share, because this is the Hope Ambassadors is Christian business, Christian-based business, and that's where we work. That's kind of the core of everything that we push out. And so today is Matthew 12:25, and we think it relates pretty well to what we're talking about. Give me a second while I'm pulling it up. But yeah, throw in some comments. You guys comment a lot today. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you have already signed up for the Couples Vision Board Party, because I think I saw a few people who are signed up. And so if you are signed up, I'm going to be sending an email out. So if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and sign up, because I'm going to be sending an email out tomorrow, and it's actually going to have 6 ways that you can get the magazines for your vision board for free or either super, super cheap. So we were able to score like 25 magazines for like under $20.
Right.
And at the stores, they're like $6, $10.
Yeah.
We bought one
and we did a blog post on it too. So check out our website.
Well, I'm gonna send the blog post when you guys sign up. You'll get the blog post sent to you. So definitely sign up.
Yeah. So Matthew 12:25 again. It says, and Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house, and we want to focus on house, divided against itself shall not stand. And so this is Jesus talking. He's basically saying that, a house divided against itself will not stand. And we're applying that to marriage right now. If you guys are going different ways or not together, it's going to be difficult to move, towards a positive direction, and just a little background on this is Jesus healed somebody, and then the Pharisees were trying to say that he cast out a devil because he was the devil, or prince of the devils is what it says in the King James Version. And Jesus just like, stop that. Why would the devil cast out the devil? Like, that doesn't make sense. And so he goes into this description and examples of how being against yourself, or a house against itself, or a city against itself, a kingdom against itself, it's not going to work.
If you think about like your body, like if you think about diseases like cancer, things like that, it's literally your body turning against yourself. You know what I mean? And so in those cases, it's fatal.
Yeah.
And so what we're illustrating with this point is that it's extremely important. If this is something that you either see going on right now, or you just want to kind of like get ahead of it, it's really important to address it, because you want to prevent any sort of resentment or things like that going on.
Sure.
And I know for me, like, there were times where I'd be like, ooh, like, I don't know if I want to take on a client, you know what I mean? Because am I going to have time to service them? Like, ooh, I don't know, should I put myself out there like that? And, to the extent that sometimes I would use that as a crutch, or just a way to kind of like not put myself out there as much as I could.
What's up, Jasmine?
And so once we actually got past that and worked through this, and like, we're fully supporting each other, that was just kind of like a thing where it's like, well, girl, with you, you don't have no excuses now. You better go ahead and start doing it.
Yeah, and I think another example, not related to that scripture per se, but related to what we're talking about, is sometimes when you're moving together, you can get things done. But, an example we were talking about earlier, like if we get up and we're on our way to an event. What's up, Lauren? We're on our way to an event, or let's say we're going to church, right? And we get up and we only have enough time to eat breakfast. We have 2 kids, so everybody eat breakfast, get dressed, shower, and then get in the car and drive. If that's all we have enough time for, that's kind of all we have enough time for, right? And so it's like me stopping in the middle of that and start washing the dishes. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not that, who can argue that the dishes need to be washed? Nobody wants a sink full of dirty dishes, but at that moment, washing the dishes is not productive towards the mission that this family is going towards. We don't have enough time to wash the dishes, you know? And so, but I can lean on that like, hey, well, you don't want to get the dishes washed? Like, and she can be frustrated like, yeah, I want the dishes washed. But, and so that's just an example of how you need to make time for things and plan it out. Okay, you know, clearly I'm like, well, I'm just washing the dishes, and we'll go back and forth and we'll get into a frustration before church, but it's like, you know, why am I washing dishes when we don't have really time to wash dishes? I'm setting us up to be late for church. So that's just an example of how when you're not on the same page and one person's doing one thing and everybody's moving a different direction, it can just not work. And like the dishes, doing the dishes is not a bad thing, but just in that moment, it just may need some revaluation. So
yeah. So for instance, like one thing that I did when we were, you know, still kind of like trying to transition and figure out like when do we fit everything in is I realized really in praying and talking to God that like I had to be more present at home. I had to be more present with the kids specifically while I was at home. I noticed that it was really frustrating, like trying to work, you know, with the kids and things like that. And so what I started doing was getting up super early, you know, maybe 5 a.m., 5:30, 6 a.m. sometimes to get the work done. And what I realized is that when I had less time to work on it, I was more focused. If I knew that the kids were going to be up, you know, at 8 o'clock and I only had 2 hours, then I had to like do the most important things. I didn't have time to twiddle around with my website or, you know, play around with different things, analysis paralysis. Like I had to, if me sending an email to somebody was going to bring me closer to being able to, you know, bring them on as a client, that's what I had to do.
Right.
If it was me scheduling social media content, then that's what I had to do. I had to get really clear about what the particular things were that were going to actually give me results and start doing those things.
Mm-hmm. And I think that shows, you know what I mean? That shows a person, if they're waking up early and you're sleeping, you see them working, you're like, whoa, what you working on? So it shows their commitment, and nobody's going to wake up at 5 in the morning consistently, at least, just to play around on a computer. You know what I mean? Or like what I would hear, do work. You know what I mean? It's like, no, she's really doing some work. You know what I mean? And so we're going to kind of get into some of these action items because we talked about the problems, with it, how, you know, not being on the same page can be a problem. It can make you stressed in your business. It can make the person, just your whole household, stressed because it's like you're tug of warring or you're going uphill battle trying to do what you feel you really should be doing, but the other person's not supporting. So we want to give some action items because we don't think it's as simple as just like somebody's a hater and just hating on your business always. It's especially your spouse, you know what I mean? It's sometimes more complicated than that. And it's just, we need to get down some of those barriers. Yeah. So, first action item, action step is to come up with a joint vision, direction, or plan. You know, where are you guys trying to go? And we talked about that on different ones. Sounds like you need to do a couples like a vision part board or something like that.
That would be really a good idea.
Yeah, I think we got one of those. Sign up. So no, but you know, you need to come up with where you guys are trying to go, because when you come up with that, I feel that it lets the other person understand where you guys are trying to go, and then what you're doing is benefiting you guys' joint mission, because that's what's important. Not what I'm doing is helping me in my career. Helping, you know, what's good for me is good for you, and vice versa. So when I have a win, it's your win because we're getting closer, whether that be financial freedom, debt free, you know, buying a house, whatever it may be, you know, having children, getting the children in private school, whatever. I don't know. It's a joint effort at that point, and a person can start to attach the work that they're seeing you doing to you guys' joint vision, and that's what's super important.
And I think too, as Source was saying, like with the vision board, you know, even starting at a macro level where you're just thinking about what type of lifestyle that you want to live, because that's, if you get that vision out there and you get clear on that, then it will start to help you to dictate your actions. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, for instance, if we decide, we want to, I'm just making this up, but like, let's say we decide we want to like homeschool our kids. Mm-hmm. We want to stay here, and maybe we want to live, where we are, but we want to backpack and travel while they're little and homeschool. Let's just say that was our vision. Then that would mean if someone approached Taurus with a job opportunity to like work for the feds or something in DC, then he would be like, no, like I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? And so that's what we mean by like having that macro thing and kind of start to help you to dictate some of the things below. Or if that was what our goal was, then I wouldn't start a business that was like dependent on me being local.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, yeah, it helps you start because I think when
Kevin.
What's up, Kev? Oh, don't worry about it, man. When you want to do something, or somebody brings an idea, sometimes you could just be like, yeah, you're doing a lot of things, you know what I mean? And you feel like it's good for your business. But to Kelly's point, when you're specific about when you start general where you want to be, get my hand over here in the camera for my administration. When you start over here, general, and then you break it down to step by step of how you're going to get to that plan, then it helps you stay a little more focused. You know what I mean? So you're not just doing any and everything trying to accomplish what you think you want, or where you think it'll get you, and so yeah, our next one is so come up with a schedule, come up with a schedule that allows that works for both of you guys, and so like I'll just use us for example. If I was working full time, Kelly's running the business, we had to sit down and say, okay, what about Tuesdays and Wednesdays before I go to work, you to get some work done. You know what I mean? It's hard me even say get some work done. We need that get work done just sounds something about that used to bother me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I referenced it in the first part of the video. Go back and watch it. But yeah, but anyway, we would talk about Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we would have to reevaluate that schedule sometimes. Is that, hey, I don't know if that Tuesday is working. What about, and that's frustrating because you're like, well, I thought we had a schedule, like, and so the schedule, and even again, that's one of the things who wants to sit out on Sunday and do, but it really helps, and it helps you guys because who wants to get Tuesday night, hey, Wednesday, I got to do this in the morning, like.
Yeah. Or even if even if you're the person that's working full time and your spouse, has the business or something like that, you may have things that come up at work or, maybe you have to travel or whatever. And so even for you, it could be helpful for you to kind of know ahead of time, as far as ahead of time as possible, what you have going on so that you guys can just coordinate together, and it just makes it a little bit less stressful when you have to bring it to that person and let them know that you have something going on.
And so the one of the other ones we want to give you is to include your spouse. So include your spouse in what's going on. If you have a business, for sure, include them in what you're doing, how it's working. Talk to them about it. Bring them on. Try to figure out how they can assist you and work together, because that
and I'm laughing because like I used to talk so much about my business to Taurus, like so much. Like he's like, okay, I need a break. But like he really didn't know he really did not know what I was doing. And so that's just like a testament to show like you can be talking but not really communicating. So it wasn't until we really sat down and started planning things out, for our business, and we started talking about like blogs and things like that and X, Y, and Z. And I actually showed him like the things that I've created. He was like, you've been doing all this? Like I had no idea what you were doing.
Yeah, and I know deep down, I knew she wasn't just like on the computer playing, but it's like when you hear just like, yeah, I'm about to go do some work. It's like, sometimes I'll walk by and I'll see her like on Facebook, but I mean, everybody needs a break. So maybe it just so happens because the devil is slick like that. When I get motivated to get something to drink and I walk by, she's Facebooking, and I'm like, working, huh? But
then also people use Facebook.
No, people use Facebook. But no. I would see Facebook. It wouldn't have me work. It would be like, hey girl, like, yeah, but no. So
we on Facebook now, see?
Yeah, we are on Facebook. But no, so I mean,
oh hey Nikki.
What's up, Nikki? And so yeah, you never know exactly how including a person, keeping them up to date, and just giving them some knowledge about what's going on can really impact them, and then just being like, hey, this is the plans for the business, this is the plans for my job, I want to get promoted here, do this and do that, and this is how it's going to help us reach what we're trying to reach. How that may change some mindsets, you know what I mean? Because that's what we really want to do to stop that resentment, is get the person feeling like you're not being selfish, you're not working doing your own thing, you're working for them. And sometimes we need a mind shift too. We get sucked into doing what we're doing because we're operating. What's up, fam?
And share your wins with your spouse. Like,
sure.
If you're winning at your job or you're winning in your business, like, don't feel like you have to kind of like downplay it or be like, oh, but I think sharing it is helpful because most of the time, regardless of what they feel about your business, they care about you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if they see that things are actually happening, it's helpful. And one thing I do have to say, and we actually didn't put it, on our original thing, but I think that this is important, is that your resources are extremely important when it comes to operating a family and operating your family together. And so typically that will include time, money, but also your energy. And so as much as, you may, whichever person is, whether you are the primary breadwinner, right, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, whether you run a business, whether you both are working, whatever.
Right.
It's extremely important to be mindful of the resources that you guys have together, and to know that when you do take on extra things and things like that, you are going to be utilizing those resources.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times that's where some of the underlying resentment or overt resentment comes from, is that we aren't able to pinpoint that really what we're frustrated about is that we have a certain amount of resources and we don't know where everything is going, and we don't feel like we know exactly how everything is going to get done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we read this book by John Acuff called Start. And one of the things he said was, which I don't know,
good book.
Yeah, but he said like, he knew that if he was working full time, he was working full time. His wife was home with the kids, I believe. And, he knew he wanted to be a writer, but he knew that it would be, he called it selfish, what I mean? To like get off of work, leave her home with the kids all day, and then come home and then just be like, all right, deuces, and, go work on his book. But what he said is he decided that he could be selfish at like 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like he could be selfish at 11 o'clock at night. Like he picked the times where he knew that he would have that time for himself, where he could get the resources that he needed without pulling those resources from his family.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's important. I know a lot of us, we want immediate success or validation for our business. We want immediate results in our careers and things like that. But I think it is important to become resourceful and creative when you haven't started to see those things yet. I know that was one thing for us with when I did the subscription box, because that actually took money and resources, to like get the business up and going, because it was a product-based business. And so being able to really be able to see how that was impacting our resources, when you get clear on that, it's easier to make those decisions about whether it's something you still want to invest your time and money in, or whether it's something that you guys want to put off to a little bit later. Yeah,
and I think I think one of the things, like I said earlier, when you hear it's like, when I'll show them. I think we get I'll show them, and I'll show them the end result. When the end result is successful, then they'll understand. But it's like, not really, maybe, because the resentment may be there on both sides. You may feel like that person didn't support you or didn't have your back, and that can carry over, period. And that person may feel like, they got left behind and sacrificed a whole lot while you were living it up. You know what I mean? And so we like to think of it is when you do it together, the struggle is still going to be struggle, it's still going to be time. But when you have a plan together, it doesn't mean you guys are doing like a business like we're doing together, but you have a plan together, then it makes you guys feel like you're in a struggle together, or you're in the trenches together and you're fighting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Opposed to doing it one person, when the load is light on them, it's heavy on the other person. And when it's, like a teeter-totter, is that what you call it? Teeter-totter, and so, but when you go through that journey together and you get on the other side, you both share in the victory, you both have fun, and then you remember the journey together, and everybody feels like they were together. And like one example that we had, like we like to think about, it's like we always want to drive to California from Michigan and take our kids because we want to stop.
Shout out to my dad if you ever watch this. He's in California.
Yeah, so we want to go to California and just like let the kids see the whole landscape. Just make it like a 2-week trip, 3-week trip, and just enjoy it, you know. But we think about it in terms of like, so if we did it, if we were like, oh yeah, it's easier for me to just get in the car by myself, possibly, and just drive. You know what I mean? Like because
or like if you wanted to stop one particular place
exactly
on the way to California, and I wanted to stop somewhere else in California. I'm not really great at geography, but like if I wanted, I feel like I'm gonna mess this up.
You better be like if we were driving California and like we want to stop in Florida. No.
I feel like I'm about to mess this all up.
Yeah.
If I was to stop in like Louisiana.
No. So we just gonna do. Don't judge us on our geography. We got our kids puzzle over here. But no, like if we're gonna stop in like Colorado on the way, you know, like if I want to stop in Colorado and she wanted to stop in, let's just say,
Texas.
Texas, okay? So she want to stop in Texas. Can you see the problem already? So she want to stop in Texas, but we got a joint place we want to go, but we get frustrated with trying to mesh where we want to go. And so we just drive, say, hey man, forget it. I'm driving, I'm going to Colorado. You just drive and go to Texas, right?
And I'll meet you in Cali.
We'll meet in Cali, right? And so we still get to Cali, we still hang in Cali, we still see our friends and family in Cali, and we enjoy that moment. But what did we miss out on during that drive? You know what I mean? Like,
so maybe it was a little bit shorter because we didn't like stop where he wanted to stop first, and then stop where I wanted to stop, and then go to California. But you know, I had experiences where I went wherever it was I ended up on the map, and he had experiences in California, in Colorado that I would never get to experience.
To end up in Texas when you're driving to California is a heck of experience, and I'm not gonna be mad I missed that, but I kind of want to know.
Coming from Michigan.
I kind of want to know how you did that, and so I missed that. But if I was on that journey, then we missed that whole story. Like man, we were driving, and now it's just she was doing it alone, and so. It's frustrating sometimes. It's hard. It's tough. But going through the struggle together, like we did a video a couple weeks ago, 2 is better than 1. You got somebody to be with you. Driving together, you know, being able to play games in the car, laugh about things, look at the view, somebody to see the view with you. Getting there together is a lot of fun. And then when you get there,
being excited to see him see whatever it is in Colorado that he wants to see, and him being happy that I got to see what I wanted to see. You know, those are the things.
Yeah, and then when we get to California, we still gonna have a good time in Cali. So when you get to the end of the journey, you're gonna have a great time still. You know what I mean? But now you got all the memories from getting there together. You know what I mean? And they're positive memories, and it's good. You know, and so. You know, just for that example, to turn it all back around, maybe we add an extra week to the drive because maybe we suck it up and say, okay, I really don't want to go to Texas. We're going to go to Colorado. We're going to detour a whole way south and go to Texas. So maybe we add another 2 weeks to our trip. You know what I mean? But either way, you know, that could be a great compromise. If we gonna talk about doing a drove trip and enjoying everything, let's just drive through the whole country and, you know, go to, you know, everywhere.
And Ola hit it on the head. It makes celebrating the journey so much sweeter. And that's exactly what it is. It's like
even in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? You know.
But you guys, if you think about it, in the society we live in right now, everything is just so rushed. And I think it's because we have access to so much now with technology. We see so many people be able to accomplish things that like our parents and parents never thought that they could accomplish. And so for us, it does kind of ignite that inner, you know, ambition. And I think that that's something that God placed in us, and it's something that's good, you know, for us to have that drive, for us to, you know, want to make things with our hands and work and things like that. But we're in this space right now where everything is so determined or focused on us getting to that end result. It's so focused on us getting to our end success, whatever that is, whatever we've decided that is. And so to be able to consciously take a step back and say, I'm going to get there. I'm going to have faith that God is going to get me to where it is He wants me to be. The place that I'm supposed to be, the place the tourist is supposed to be. Like, we're going to get there, you know? So why not be mindful and intentional about just enjoying the steps each and every way?
Because we're going to get there. And I feel like it's the Holy Spirit, because we've been talking about Texas a lot. That was random. Talking about driving to California. It was funny. But I want to talk about, we're going to be in Dallas.
Yeah,
we're going to be in Dallas end of August.
24th?
August 24th. But it's Millions Conference. It's put on by Tiffany Montgomery. We're just going to give her a shout out. We don't know her. We don't know her, but we're going to the conference. And
it's going to be an amazing conference for entrepreneurs, people in the business space, but people who really just have a heart for God and really are wanting to use whatever ideas or whatever it is that God put in them to impact others and to grow others. And so if you guys can make it, definitely check it out. The website is millionsconference.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're excited.
Yeah, we just giving her a shout out because it's all team body of Christ this way. That's just our thing, man. Team body of Christ. We supporting everybody. It's no hate, no jealousy, man. We use our platform to push somebody else up, you know. And so we're gonna go to Millions Conference. If you can go, come there. We'll be there. We can link up. That'll be cool.
We're not gonna drive though. We're gonna fly.
Yeah, we're gonna fly. We're gonna fly, so because we'll be going to Texas and end up in California. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to give that a shout out real quick. Sow some seed into that. And so that's awesome. We've been on here a little longer, man. We had a great time. I think, you know.
Yeah, this was fun.
Last week we had a great time. This week we have a great time, man. We appreciate everybody that was on here, man.
Yes,
we love you guys, man.
Feel free to hit the share button if you thought this was a good one. Hey, Pops.
What's up, Pops?
Thanks Ola, Julia, and how Kevin is signed up too. If you signed up for the Vision Board Party, thanks so much. We hope to see you there live because we'll have the chat going and we can interact. But if by some chance you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it at 8:30 on the 26th, then still sign up because we're going to send a link. You're going to get some resources like how you can get a whole bunch of magazines for like free or nothing at all. Oh, you hear it beeping? Oh, yeah. We got to make a trip to Home Depot. You know, every time I hear it beep, I keep thinking about This Is Us. And then I feel like I need to, like, just pray. Because then it, like, freaks me out.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. Hey, cuz, don't blast me on Facebook, cuz. You got my number. You got my number. If you concerned about me, you know, shoot me a text. No, I'm joking. That's funny. No, man, you know what? That's been going off. It doesn't even,
I don't even
I don't even hear it. It's like we got a bird actually. I don't even know what you're talking about, Nikki. Yeah,
sorry,
man.
Missed out. We're talking. Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's cool. That's
the
cool.
Replay is there. If you guys
watch the replay. But yeah, so we just always want to, you know, we're Taurus and Kelly. I did weird. Taurus and Kelly. We're Taurus and Kelly, and we're you know the founders of the Hope Ambassadors. Right? We're coaches, life coaches, marriage coaches, personal development coaches, and we're in business coaching and working with people to regain hope and be re-energized in their dreams, man. That's what we're doing this all for. Serve first, man, is what God is telling us. Serve, and He'll take care of the rest. And so that's what we're doing.
If you want a marriage and a life that's like reflective of like purpose and God's vision, if you want to build a business that's based off of integrity and alignment with your family values, with your own values, then definitely sign up for the Vision Board Workshop, or you can just go to our website and sign up there because we're sending out content already once a week. We're sending out emails and inspirational devotionals and things like that, and we'll be able to keep you posted when we start to launch more things as well.
Yeah, and then we get on here we talk about these things, and these things are awesome. You know, and we recognize that it's power in the things because we apply it. But we also understand its barriers, and so that's why we always give a shout out to what we're doing because it's not enough time to work through everything on here and to do everything, but it's barriers that's stopping you from communicating. It's barriers that's stopping you from planning. It's those barriers, and that's what we're doing. We're working with people to eliminate those barriers so they can put these things into practice and move forward. So thank you guys for checking in, man. We like I said, we love you, man. Thanks for checking in. This is an awesome journey, and you guys with us on a journey.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yep. Cool. Bye.
Have a good night.
Next week.